Tonight, a KXAN investigation reveals the city of Austin watering its lawns at times when it says you can't. Even though Austin is no longer in a drought, it is still under Stage 2 water rules, which means we are all supposed to conserve. You can only use automatic sprinklers before 5 a.m. and after 7 at night on specific days. You cannot hand wash your vehicle or run large fountains, and restaurants serving water without a request and operating patio misters outside of specific times. But KXAN investigator Kevin Schwaller found the city isn't always following those same rules, and it doesn't have to.
This is exactly what the city asks homeowners and businesses not to do. Watering in the heat of the day. This at one of Austin's best-known parks.
Ready? I come here every day, probably for an hour, kind of in the middle of the afternoon.
The crowds recently returned to what's commonly called Auditorium Shores after parts of a multi-million-dollar renovation. Alan Izzard and others come out here to enjoy the outdoors and the view.
It's just because it's a lot of dogs, they can be off leash, everyone runs around, the water's right there so they can swim.
But a KXAN investigation found in the city's efforts to keep downtown's backyard looking nice, crews made a mistake. This is video from about 4:30 in the afternoon on a Wednesday, 2.5 hours before normal restrictions allow sprinklers to come on. Sprinklers stopped out here just before 5 o'clock. The grass is still wet. The sun's out, and my phone says it's 95 degrees out. To see how quickly water can evaporate at that time of day, look at the sidewalk. The sprinklers left puddles. Less than an hour later, the sun left dry pavement. Why were the sprinklers on at that time of day when it was 95 degrees outside?
Yeah, that was a mistake. So normally that system is on a program, and that program is set to go off normally midnight to 5 a.m.
Charles Vaslavic is the division manager for grounds maintenance with the city. He says crews accidentally set the timer for the wrong time. They called crews back in to fix the mistake.
The water came on a cycle, so it was still watering once a week. It was just on the wrong day.
And in this case, the wrong time. But the original tip that prompted our investigation reported other times when the city was watering the lawn in direct sunlight. Can you find out how long that's been going on?
Only from reports that were made. That's the only way to backtrack it.
So KXAN News obtained reports made to Austin's 311 information and non-emergency number. At least 4 calls this year reported sprinklers going off in the same area. At times, the callers believed violated Austin's water restrictions. That includes sprinklers running while raining at around 11:30 in the morning. Notes from another call state sprinklers were going off in direct sunlight, which sends a bad message. But the city is allowed to water whenever it wants to in certain parks. So even the mistake wasn't technically against the rules. Crews say they have an exemption to water here because the system draws from nearby Lady Bird Lake, a different lake than the ones used to supply the tap water you use at home. At times, like in these pictures, the Parks Department admits sprinklers water in the day to get sod to grow.
It's scheduled once a week, but as you know, it's new turf, so we may have to water more.
And sometimes that means watering a park, even when you can't water at home. Kevin Schwaller, KXAN, investigates.
Well, Austin Water's records show the city applied for and got 3 water variances this year, giving it temporary exemptions from the current water restrictions. You can also apply to do the same in special cases like certain new landscaping projects. We checked, and so far this year, Austin Water approved 21 of 26 commercial applications for the exemptions. It also approved 54 of the 66 residential applications it received. For more information about how and when you can apply, find this story on our website, KXAN.com. And another water problem we first told you about last night on KXAN News at 10, billions of gallons of water leaking from city pipes each year. We told you how the Austin Water Utility has a plan to replace 900 miles of aging pipe to prevent future leaks. But at its current speed, it would take close to a century to complete. More money could help, and after we started questioning leaders, we've learned the possibility for more funding will come up next month during budget discussions. Online now at KXAN.com, our digital investigator David Barrere has calculated how much water the city has leaked. See as our water ticker shows how much has gone to waste for every second you're on the story. Also, in that story online, we give you a comparison of just how big last year's loss was, like filling up Lady Bird Lake twice, plus an interactive map where you can pinpoint the water leaks in your neighborhood for the last 2 years. It's all in the investigative section of KXAN.com. Tonight's report started with a viewer tip. Remember, if you have something you want us to investigate, email us at report@kxan.com.